On today's episode of Nothing Major, we're going to talk the Miami Open preview. We're going to give our picks and our favorites, and we're going to debate what's better, the current venue at the Hard Rock Stadium or the old venue at Crandon Park. And then finally, we've got a little teaser from our Michael Costa interview. The final interview will be out next week. He is one of the hosts of The Daily Show. He got to a career high, I think, of 864. We got the full interview out next week. But with that information, let's start today's show right now. Welcome back to Nothing Major. I got Steve Johnson, Jack Sock, Charlie Fox, his team at SIFT on the call. Again, no John Isner. He wasn't here Monday. He's not here Friday. You think he'd be here because we're talking Miami. This is the biggest tournament he ever won.
It's the fifth slam.
It's the fifth slam, according to him. And it's obviously not the fifth slam because he's not here in this episode. If it was the fifth slam, he would be here, but he's not here. Who knows what he's doing? But anyway, the show must go on. We're going to do it without him. So it's the three of us today. Anyway, let's start with Miami. It's now been played at the Hard Rock Stadium for what, like 7 years? 10 years maybe?
No.
7. All
no.
right.
Not even.
5?
Is it?
At least 7.
No.
I don't know if that's true. We're going to have to fact check. I don't think it's been at least 7.
Let's call it 7, give or take. It used to be at Crandon Park. Let's go to Jack Sock. We've both played in each site. Which site is better, Crandon Park, the old Miami site, or the new one at the Hard Rock Stadium?
Without a doubt, Key Biscayne. I get the whole traffic thing. You go over the bridge where we all get on that little causeway. You go over to Key Biscayne. At times, it can be a lot of traffic. It can be hectic. You might have to leave a lot earlier than you should if you're staying on Brickell or downtown Miami. But if you're a smart player, you stay on Key Biscayne. There's a Ritz-Carlton's there. There's other hotels. There's houses. You can Airbnb. I've done all of the above for that tournament. And when you're staying over there, it's awesome. There's restaurants on the island, everything. The site was just it felt more cozy. It felt more comfortable playing on Key Biscayne at Crandon Park. Hard Rock felt very... I don't know. There's a lot going on. The practice courts are miles away. You got a golf cart out there. The stadium, you're playing in a football stadium. Fans are sitting far away. I don't know. I was never a fan of that type of vibe and a feel. But so for me, Crandon Park was the outright winner of the two venues.
I like that you're giving the Ritz-Carlton a shout out. We're not trying to be a bougie pod, everyone. Just so you know, we're a pod of the people.
I never stayed there personally.
Stevie, you were usually at the Motel 6 across the bridge.
Correct.
Anyway, what site's better?
Crandon Park, from a tennis aspect, is immensely better. But as a player, I did enjoy the facilities of the Hard Rock better. Just locker room, showers, food, way better than Crandon Park. Like the locker rooms and stuff at Crandon Park, not good. Like the showers were, I just thought kind of gross. It wasn't my thing, but I preferred to play tennis like at the courts. The feel was so much better around the grounds. Around Key Biscayne. I mean, the Hard Rock is just like so spread out. You're just in a parking lot. There's just like 10 practice courts or 20 practice courts basically in 2 lines. It's just kind of a bummer of a setup, I think. So I preferred to play at Crandon Park for sure.
Jack and I both had the same reaction. The facilities are the same at both. The facilities
No, it's way better, dude. It's way better to be in the locker room at like the Dolphins locker room than Crandon Park's locker room.
The women in Hard Rock get the Dolphins locker room. The men, we're in like the away locker room. It's not even that nice.
It's way better than the Crandon Park locker room. What are you talking about?
No, it's not.
That's insane.
The food area is better at Hard Rock, but the locker room is not better.
Remember at Crandon Park, the locker rooms back in the day used to come and they would put your name on the locker and you didn't know where it was going to be. It was like super exciting. You'd go in there and be like, am I going to be named Roger?
No, you don't like that. I like to pick my spot in a comfortable area with my friends in a safe environment.
With my friends.
I was never near you, so.
Where's Stevie? He's like, oh, he's over with the Eastern Europeans. He's not comfortable.
Yeah, not a good week for me. You knew I was at it. Well, I mean, I usually made it to first or second round of Miami, and that was about it. So that was a good week for me.
Like, you don't want your tournaments to be that spread out. Crandon Park, it was a tennis venue. Like, the night matches were electric, dynamic. Now it just feels like it's too spread out. Like you said, the practice courts are one long row. The main stadium is within a football stadium. I don't know. The vibe is bad, honestly.
I never played on center court. Did you guys ever play on center court at Hard Rock?
Not even close.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, I watched it out there. It just didn't look I don't know. It was just like a weird feeling. You'd look up and see a stadium, and then you just see a bigger stadium right behind it. It just didn't make sense to me. I mean, I hit out there a couple of times practicing, but
You think a lot of times like for us, it wasn't our favorite because you're going from Indian Wells, which is arguably the best Masters series and maybe the best tournament all year, to Miami. So you're judging it compared to Miami.
for sure. Like Miami is one of my least favorite cities in the States. So I was always kind of in a sour mood when I got there. So that never helped, I think. And I stayed a lot of different places. I stayed on Brickell. I stayed in Coconut Grove. Like I stayed in a lot of different hotels to kind of like find my groove and just never found it.
I don't like having to take my passport to go play a tournament in the States.
I will say, John said this a few weeks ago. Like, if there was another slam that was to be added, like, I would want it in South America. Those South American tournaments, I never played it, but when you watch them on TV, they're packed with people. The energy's good. I feel like you kind of have that energy at Crandon Park. You don't have it at the Hard Rock, maybe because it's a tennis stadium within, like, a big stadium. But I don't know. I hope Miami one day, I have no idea how these tournaments move around, like, stays in Miami, but goes to, like, a tennis venue.
Grandstand at Crandon Park was like such an awesome vibe. You went, I mean, you did golf cart out there, but like I always felt like it was packed at Grandstand. And then I remember playing, I think on Grandstand at the Hard Rock, and it just was never even remotely close to the same feeling as I had at like Crandon Park. And I don't know. Yeah, just.
I would love to take like a poll with players to feel like to see if they feel the same way we do. I don't know how they couldn't, because everything we're saying is
we are the voice of the players. Remember that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we totally are. All right, you go. You guys ever go to the fancy steak place in Miami? Who's the guy? The Salt Bay guy?
Yeah. Well, I'd walk by it every time.
I feel like Jack went.
I did a couple years ago. It was one of the worst meals I've ever had.
Really? The steak's like $300.
One of the worst meals I've ever had. Paid way too much money. God, it was awful. I'm not like, sorry, Salt Bay, if you're listening to this, probably not, but but yeah, God, it was terrible. It was.
I think it closed down.
And they like make you feel like you're like inferior when you're sitting there and like ordering food, and they're like, I don't know. It just felt the whole vibe was off, and the food wasn't good, and I regret going.
I do feel like the Indian Wells to Miami during the year for tournaments, they're back to back, although there's a little gap in between. Maybe the biggest difference in the humidity, the dryness, the weather all year. Like Indian Wells, hot, dry, fast, little altitude. You get to Miami, it's like muggy and humid. It's tough. Like I always kind of struggle with it, honestly, going from one to the other. I feel like you guys feel like it's maybe the biggest difference between back-to-back tournaments in terms of conditions.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, especially just within the States, like you don't get that too often. I mean, Indian Wells this year is relatively on the cooler side. You know, you see guys and the girls playing out there in night matches with sleeves on just to kind of stay warm. So Miami is always hot and it just is humid. And for us Southern California guys who are not used to that, it can hit you like a ton of bricks like in the first couple days. And always, you can't acclimate that quickly, I felt like. So your first match was like survival. If you can get through your first match, you'd be all right. But it was always tough that first couple of days when you got there and you were just like 3 or 4 practice shirts during a practice, and it was tough.
I feel like I'm always a little, even Jack and I, we're all soft with the humidity. Jack and I were in Miami a few days ago. Literally first thing, we're on Fisher Island. It's like, it's pretty humid out right now, right? Like, we're not even playing a tournament when we start talking about it. Like, are you going to be okay? Like, I'm okay, but like, you know, if you need anything, like holler.
Were you guys whiffling or tennising in Fisher's Island?
It's even worse. We were just whiffling.
Oh my goodness. You guys talking about humidity in the whiffle?
We're doing an event with Hot Guy winner Berrettini and Hot Guy quarterfinalist Lorenzo Musetti.
Where was Tsitsipas in the Hot Guy thing? He was there as well.
No, he didn't make the draw.
He didn't make the cut. It didn't make the cut. It's tough.
If I had to do it again, I'd probably put him in it. Anyway, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. So let's talk about Novak. Novak playing Miami. We did hear, I can't confirm this. I was actually with Stevie when we heard it. I think he did go back to Europe. Now he's back in Miami. I thought he would just stay in Europe, honestly, and practice and get ready for the clay. But no, he's back in Miami for the first time since 2019. Stevie, are you surprised with this? And do you expect him to like put it together this week and get some results on the board?
So we assume he went back home. Maybe he got what he needed back there. Who knows? But the guy's tennis ability is still extremely high. We watched it in Australia. He has the ability to be one of the best players in the world. But it's just been an odd 6 to 8 weeks since then, losing 3 times in a row. and just not looking like himself in these losses. I think he'll be fine once he gets to slams and gets that juice back going with something that can tangibly move the needle for his resume for the rest of his career to just further his dominance in the Grand Slam levels. But I don't know what Miami does for him. I don't know if I see him going far or not. I don't know yet. I mean, it's a horrible answer on my behalf, but it just completely depends on how he wakes up and if he wants to go out and compete on that given day.
He's got a decent draw. I'm looking at it now. He's got to buy. His seed is Alex Mickelson, who, by the way, I told Mickelson once he's top 30, he can come on the podcast. So he's only got to win a couple of matches. If he beats Novak, we might have him on.
If he can get through like the first couple rounds, like he needs to get a couple wins. And then I think, then the juices, the engines start to get going. If he has, a tough first round again, it's hard for him to get going in those early rounds, I think.
Jack, do you think life or death? Do you think he wins 3 matches in Miami?
I like his first match. I like him beating Mickelson. I'm very much with Stevie. I think if he wakes up and he has motivation that day to do something and want to play well and want to be great that day, I think he can obviously do it. We all know that, but I don't know. He's got to wake up and want to go out there and win. But yeah, I think he gets to his first round. I think he gets through Mickelson.
Who goes further, him or Zverev? I'm going Zverev. I'm going to Zverev as maybe gonna win the title.
No, I think Novak goes farther than.
Ooh, I think Zverev does. I just think Zverev has more to get after at this point. I think he needs it. He just needs it more.
Totally. I think you're right.
I also think Novak I don't think he likes to be out second, third round. I think that he also wants to prove something. As you said, I think his draw looks pretty enticing. I think Novak's going to be in the semis.
All right. And Stevie and I have Zverev to make a run, maybe win it.
Yeah, nothing major wager. I have Djokovic over Zverev. Better finish in the tournament.
We have no wager, but there is a nothing major wager.
Well, whoever does better gets to play the Madison member guest.
All right. Most consistent man on tour, Alcaraz. What are we expecting? Another just run from him here? Last time he lost in the finals of Indian Wells, he did win Miami. Not that that's going to necessarily happen again, but we just expect him to be, he's kind of the most consistent guy at this point now that Sinner's not going to be here for a little bit. Why do some people call him Carlitos, by the way?
His Instagram handle.
Oh, really?
Come on. As an influencer, you should know that.
It's like a nickname or what?
I would assume it's...
You guys don't know.
Can a nickname be longer?
Carlitos. It's cool.
Yes, I think he makes the semis. He is a competitor, and that will carry him a long way. But still, his middle of the road tennis fluctuates too much for a guy who's 100 times better than me as a tennis player. But, you see these flashes of him being number one in the world, and I don't think anybody can touch him. And then you go out and you watch him play Draper in the semis of Indian Wells, and, he's losing sets 6-1, but then he bounces back 6-0. It's just an odd, just a bit of a roller coaster at the moment. So I don't know what the fix is there, if it's, reining it in a bit, but, I still feel like he's going to be at the end of this tournament competing for a title. A loss in the semis isn't going to deter him or change his attitude or mood going into Miami.
I feel like you just want to put Alcaraz at the end of the tournament, but I also have a feeling that he could maybe lose to kind of anybody. It might be a hot take, but you get a Nakashima or Kachanov or all these guys that plays well early on, and wouldn't be surprised if maybe he was out then, but also I also feel like he's a favorite to win the tournament. So it's a weird I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it, but I feel like I think he's kind of the favorite to win the tournament, but also wouldn't be shocked if he lost in the third or fourth round at the same time.
It all leads back to just 20 guys can win it, just like we saw in Indian Wells. So we'll see. On the women's side, Andreeva, is it her the field right now? Or is she that dominant, or is that an aggressive statement?
Very aggressive.
I think it's aggressive just because of her age. She's 17. She's just won 2 big titles in the last month. It's tough to keep backing that up week in and week out. It's easy to get sidetracked in our world.
She backed up the one title with another title.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to keep stacking those up. Obviously the confidence is going to be high. How does her body react? How does her emotional, physical state kind of get back into another tournament? And the same thing on the women's side. I feel like there's 15 women that could win it.
No, there's only 4.
There's only 4.
Yeah. Andreeva, Sabalenka, Swiatek, and Keys.
So you're just throwing everybody else out. That's it.
Everyone else is the tournament. One of those 4, I'll bet you anything wins the tournament.
All right, I'll take the field.
All right.
I'll take the field for any dollar amount.
What other women do you think could like possibly win this title?
I'm going off any seed that's in the draw. I know Samova could win it. Anybody could win the tournament. I don't think.
Strong disagree.
You don't think Danielle Collins can make a run? She got Sabalenka, Swiatek, Andreeva, Keys.
And Keys.
I like your chances. I just think the field, like, it's gonna be chaos, man.
It's the first time I feel like going back 10 years ago, it was like the women's side, you'd be like, oh, 20 people can win it. And the men's are like, it's 3. It's kind of flipped a little bit now.
I feel like you're just self-proclaiming that. I'm not sure that's accurate.
All right. You guys don't know anything. You don't know anything.
If there's anything that's certain in this world, it's you incorrectly predicting things in tennis on this podcast.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe the worst picker on the pod.
Not the worst.
After Indian Wells, go back to the men for a second. Is there a player or a couple of players that you feel like's got like something to prove at Indian Wells? Like they've been a little sluggish lately, not even Indian Wells, but leading up to that, you're like, all right, they kind of need a result right now. Stevie?
Yeah, it's the guy at the top of the draw. It's Sasha Zverev. He just needs it. We've talked about it on here before. The Australian Open final loss might have caused some more emotional damage than we all maybe were led to believe, because he had rebounded from some tough losses in finals of slams a lot better. Look, his tennis is he's going to be fine as long as he's healthy. He's going to play himself back into form. But it's just a different field right now. When you are the number 1 seed in these tournaments, you are the guy at the top of the draw with Sinner being out, and you need to perform. That's what the best players do in those big moments. When you are the top dog in a tournament, you go out and you perform. And he's had, the guys before him, Roger, Rafa, Novak, do that for decades plus. So now it's his turn, and he needs to go out there and find himself in a final Sunday of this tournament and get that mojo back.
I think it's the right answer. I also think Carlitos. I think our guy. I think I think for his standards and Sinner not being in the field, I think Carlitos is undeniably the favorite to win the tournament, even if Zverev is a seed higher at 1. I think Carlitos not winning either Indian Wells or Miami is a disappointment for him and his team and his camp. I think Zverev losing first round or second round, whatever it is, Indian Wells is a massive disappointment. But I think Carlitos not playing, for a title or winning a title is maybe more of a disappointment than that.
Again, that's like a compliment to him because he set the bar.
Exactly. Yeah. The guy's incredible.
Yeah, it's not a dig at him at all.
No, not at all. You expect him to win.
I'm going just the American men as a whole. I'm talking about Fritzy, Tiafoe, Korda, Tommy Paul, Nakashima, Opelka. I feel like I'm forgetting someone good. Ben Shelton. Talking to all of them. Like, it just, I don't know. Like, one of them needs to make a final here. Because I feel like we haven't, even like in Dallas and Del Rey and Acapulco, a little slow from all them. They're all ranked really high. This draw feels like it's kind of open. Like one of those 6 that I just mentioned, someone make a final here.
Somebody do something and win the 5th slam like John Isner.
Someone do something. Just win the 5th slam. Hey, the 5th slam. This is the 6th slam. But yeah, someone's got to make a run on the American side for the men. We're going to call it a bold prediction. And so that's going to be anyone not seeded. Give me a non-seed to make a run, and a run I'm going to consider quarterfinals.
I feel like there's an obvious answer in there, but
is there?
Your boy. I think Fonseca's got to be in there. That's your favorite player, you said. That's literally your favorite player.
Gael Monfils.
Wild.
It's Monfils, by the way. I learned that now that I'm in the Monfils. I've been calling Monfils forever, and now that I'm broadcasting a little bit and commentating, it's Monfils.
He's got a chance. I mean, he's got a decent. I mean, of the draws you can have, the seeds, Lehechka, Medvedev, Tsitsipas. Like, it's a softer section if you're looking for a dark horse to make a quarter.
I'm just going back to Joao Fonseca. He's going to be on center court every match, probably.
Every match. Another bold prediction.
Every match. Joao Fonseca will be on center court at Miami. Another bold prediction. I think Fonseca has the crowd support here over every player in the draw, actually, now that I think about it. If Fonseca plays Alcaraz night match, Fonseca has a overwhelming crowd support.
No?
No?
No.
Dude, you know how many
What's
Brazilians live in
overwhelming?
Miami?
What's overwhelming?
70-30.
No.
You say Fonseca over Alcaraz?
Dude, it's Carlitos, baby.
This is the South American event.
Alcaraz is going to have the fan favorites the entire tournament.
Not if he plays Fonseca. I'm telling you guys,
No.
that one could be 50-50. Take Alcaraz out. Is there one other player that has more fan support than Fonseca if they're on center court? Your silence tells the answer.
Probably
The answer
Novak.
is no, dude. This tournament is like 80% Brazilians. Go watch this thing. Back in the day, they all played all the Brazilians on center. Fonseca is a superstar.
Marcelo Melo had more fans back in the day than Novak.
We're going to put a poll up. Who gets more crowd support in Miami? If Fonseca plays Alcaraz, who gets more crowd support?
This is completely hypothetical, by the way, because they're not even on the same half of the draw.
I know, but I'm just like I'm just trying to really let the people know like the South American fan support that is at the Miami tournament.
Sam's arguments are like Swiss cheese, dude.
We got Swiss cheese out here.
This is a good argument. What American male is going furthest and what American female is going furthest in this week's Miami Open? We're going to go to Steve Johnson.
I'm going to go with Fritz. He spends a lot of time in Miami, has a residence there. He's back. He played his first tournament, got his kind of feet underneath him after the oblique injury. So I think he's going to feel right at home in Miami. And he's somebody that doesn't lack confidence. So once he gets rolling, it's just going to completely explode and his tennis will be there. So I think he will be the American male that goes the furthest.
I'm going to go with Tommy Paul. I think he's going to. I like his draw. I think Cerundolo, great seed for him. Casper Ruud, not the best on hard courts at times. I think he will be seeing Mr. Carlitos in the whatever round that is, round of 16 or quarters. I think Tommy Paul goes the farthest. Please prove me right one time, Tommy. Let's get moving this week.
I'm going Alex Mickelson. I think he's going to pull off the upset against Novak in round 3.
He wants to be on the pod. He's got to make his name.
I think he wants to be on the pod that bad, and he knows if he gets top 30, I agree to have him on. And so Alex Mickelson is my pick. All right, finally, who is your pick to win the event? I'll go first this time because I keep having you guys go first. On the men's side, I'm going Sasha Zverev. I think he needs it. I think he's gonna get out of this funk, just like I called last week. Medvedev having a bad year. I called him to win it. He made semis, not too bad. I think Zverev going to get out of the funk and get a title here. And on the women's side, Andreeva.
I'm going to go with Carlitos. Based off his Instagram, he's had a nice little, he's golfed out in Indian Wells. He probably has some, nice R&R. He's going to be ready to go in Miami. I think Carlitos wins Miami on the men's side comfortably. I will say. I think he's going to shine.
You get a bonus point if he does that comfortably.
Yeah, I think he doesn't lose a set and wins the tournament. Just hot take. I think he doesn't lose a set, wins the tournament. He's got his people down here more than Fonseca. I think he's got more fans. I'm going to go with Coco Gauff to have a breakout. Finally, we get some results from Coco. Come on. Huge fan of her. You've got to put some results together at some point, and it's going to be here. It's going to be Miami. She's a South Florida resident, I think, and trains down here. So close to home, comfortable winning the tournament.
All right, comfortable. She's going to win it. No double faults on her way to victory.
Just if we keep it under 15, we're good.
All right, Stevie, give us yours.
Yeah, Carlos. I'm going to take Carlos. It would be a disappointment, as Jack said, for him to leave the Sunshine Double without a title.
All right, good picks. I can't wait to revisit this. All right, everyone. Big day for the pod. Nothing Major pod. Today's guest is a comedian, one of the hosts of The Daily Show, also the host of the Tennis Anyone podcast, but also a former tennis player. He played college tennis at Illinois, got to a career high of 864 in the world. We have Michael Costa joining us today. Michael, thanks for joining the Nothing Major podcast. And most importantly, you're a non-major winner like the rest of us. So we're all equals here today.
Right. And this is Walter. He's on my lap, but I'm going to put him down now. Yeah, I was going to say, of all the pods, I feel very comfortable on this one. I didn't win a major. I also never even played a qualifying of a major. You guys had all your line calls called for you for a long time. And one of the chapters that a lot of people are resonating with here is a whole chapter on some of my best cheating in juniors. And I was curious, I go in detail about one time I cheated a player. I'm curious if there's a terrible line call that you knowingly did and if it comes to mind in your careers? Because in pros, obviously, you're not calling your own lines.
Yeah, my one, it's actually a college match, no surprise. We're playing Stanford, up at Stanford. It's 2010, my second year. And a lot of their guys were in SAE at the time, so they would come, and it was like, I'm all good with college tennis environment. When it gets personal, though, that's when it kind of crosses the line. And they were like yelling stuff at me. My mom was in the stands. Like, it was not okay. We ended up playing singles first because of rain. Was tied 3-all. So we played the doubles after. Came down to my match, and it was like 6-all, or I can't remember what time. It was a big point, and I cheated these poor Stanford guys so badly on a lob. Like, I couldn't have had enough. Like, I left my racket on the court because after we finished, I shook their hands and just left. Like, I was so angry just because how they were treating us. So like that was one I was like, Bradley Klon, who's a good friend of mine, he was not playing me, but was on that Stanford team. We've had a good laugh since, but at the day, I don't think he was too happy with me.
I can't remember a specific call. I was probably on the other side of like lenient calls. Yeah, I didn't have that moment like Stevie. I was just fair. I was just nice and fair and honest,
Good guy.
Yeah, I
good
was just
soul.
a good Midwest guy with Midwest manners. I didn't really hook. I got hooked by Christian Harrison once in the juniors. That was wild. He thought I hooked him the point before, so I hit a ball that literally landed in the middle of the court, like just at the tee box of the service boxes. Called it out, and I was like, "Whoa, what are we doing here?" But that's about it. So Christian Harrison, nice run to the semis of Indian Wells doubles, but that was a bad call.
I think the best players don't need to do that. Personally, I'm not saying you, Stevie, but me.
Oh, no, for sure.
I was saying pickleball, it happens all the time. Sam knows.
Yeah, call your own lines.
Yeah. What's a drill, on-court drill? I think maybe some tennis listeners would love this, but maybe you've already covered it. What's a drill that you love?
My favorite drill, it was impossible shot drill. We used to do this at Carson with the coaches. If you would be sitting on the bench, like having water, and then like all of a sudden the coaches throw a ball, be like, impossible shot, and you'd like get off the bench and try to go like scrap a ball out of the corner.
Oh, that's so fun. That's exactly what
it
I wanted
was
to hear.
fun. It accomplished nothing. It did not make you a better tennis player, I don't think. But just at any moment, it was like, impossible shot, and like a ball would be thrown, and you had to like scramble and go find it.
It was good for intangibles.
Yeah. Stevie was there. We used to do it.
Unbelievable.
It's so cool. You would do that as a pro too?
Well, I was like top 20 in the world would be doing that with each other.
I love it because it's got to be fun.
Yes, exactly.
What's one travel tip? No one travels more than a tennis player, and no one travels with the duration of a tennis player. You're going to like all over the whole world. I mean, there's Australia and Asia. And then what's a killer travel tip?
Commit to one airline. Go out of your way to fly in one airline the entire time. Hoard miles. Do whatever you need to do to stay on one airline. Accumulate as many miles as you can, and then use them. Then you got like free tickets and stuff for your family, like forever. Basically, not forever, but you got a lot of free trips.
Same wavelength on the airlines, and I regret not being loyal to a certain hotel younger, where you could also use those points later in life. Be a loyal airline guy, be a loyal hotel guy, and that'll set you up for a long time.
2 days ago, Jack and I were in Dallas and we flew to Miami. He bought a first class seat. I didn't. So then I had to like walk by him, like him sitting in first class, and I was back in coach. Like so awkward.
I remember I was a pretty new headliner and was getting bumped up a lot. And Pauly Shore, who's someone like, I grew up watching and now I'm friends with him, the Weasel. He was flying coach. And Pauly Shore walked past me going coach and I'm going first. And it helped my confidence, but it must have hurt his.
That's how I felt the other day with Sam. I was like, this plane came from London. We had flatbeds going from Dallas to Miami. And this dude's walking back to 33G or whatever it is.
Like 4 inches taller than you, like crammed back there. I thought you were going to give me your seat, honestly.
I thought about it, but then I was like, well, you made a poor decision on not booking first class. So I was like, all right, well.
I already got what I wanted with the questions, but I am curious what you guys would improve the sport if you could change one thing. Let me tell you what mine is. I believe every single tennis match that we watch in the professionals, men, women, every level, in the lower corner, it should tell us how much money the players are playing for. In the finals, to the futures, I want everyone who watches the sport to understand the pay disparity and also like what's actually at risk here.
We've talked about it on this. Like, I want them at the finals of the U.S. Open to wheel out $3 million in cash and put it under the umpire's chair.
Squid Game.
This is what we're playing for today.
Yes. I love
that would be unbelievable.
That's an improvement upon my idea. You want the actual money.
I want
love
cash
that.
out there on it. Yeah, just like they do at the World Series of Poker. I want it out there, and I want cash in hand to know. Because then you look over and you start getting nervous. Like, there's all that cash. I want it. I'm with you on that one. 100%.
The trophy does that with the Grand Slam final. That is always a little scary as a viewer. Like, oh, that's what they're playing for. But yeah.
Or like where your ranking would go also on the screen. Like you're playing first round, you're like defending points from the year prior. Your ranking is going to go this way or that way.
I would not in slams, maybe the other ones. I like the short sets to 4, no ad scoring. That way we get like drama-filled points every minute, basically.
Yeah. You're
like that.
You're right. And the USTA did that for a summer in futures when I was playing. And yeah, I got my first ATP point playing short sets, which definitely helped me because I would just serve and run the net, and then I would try to return and run the net, and you could put pressure on people right away. But
were you playing satellites back in the day?
Yeah, mostly futures. I only played one satellite, and I didn't qualify for the points thing, and I was like, this was the biggest waste of 3 weeks of my life. So that's all my questions for you guys.
We have one final question. You got to listen to one tennis podcast for the rest of your life. Is it Nothing Major or Served with Andy Roddick?
We need an answer.
Just so you know, we've only asked one other guest this. It was James Blake, and he said Served with Andy Roddick.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Well, what's he? Just an adequate doubles player at best?
At best.
You call him a tournament director these days, whatever that is.
I think an enormous weakness to this sport, and this is going to be a roundabout answer. I was in Scottsdale, Arizona. We were doing me and my wife were just doing a weekend away. There was pickleball courts to the right. There was tennis courts to the left. I signed us up for both. Okay. We go play pickleball for an hour. People got beers cracked open. Hey, guys, get over here. Play with us. Music is being played. We had like 10 friends at the end of this thing. No joke. We then put the pickleball paddles, whatever their stupid sport's called, put them down, go over to play tennis. We start talking with my wife. These older people come over and say, can you talk quieter? It's too loud on the court. And I go, I love this sport. It's the hardest sport. It's the best, but it needs to get over itself. And one of the things I appreciate that pickleball is doing, I don't like pickleball, but it's a community thing. It's a friends thing. That's huge. And I think what really comes through with your guys' pod, and that's why your pod is the answer.
Oh, yes. Let's go.
You
just stop talking now.
The community. And also let's talk about therapeutic shit for a sec. There is an American male friendship recession. Depression is at an extreme high. Let's not even get into the ramifications of depression and what that can lead to. I mean, there really is male issues with connection and friendship. And I think one thing that's really awesome about your guys' pod is you feel like friends. And that's also why Andy will suffer long-term depression.
I like it. All right. That was amazing. All right, everyone. That's Michael Costa. Go check out his book, Lucky Loser, Adventures in Tennis and Comedy. You can also check out his podcast, too. Maybe yours is the third best podcast. If you had to listen to a third one.
Yeah, if we're on a desert
Tennis
island.
Anyone podcast. But for now, go check out the book, Lucky Loser. Thanks for coming on. That was where's the best place to buy it?
Anywhere, but support your independent bookshop. Support your independent bookshop. That's really like, do we want Amazon to run our lives? Thank you guys. Truly, I've watched all of you compete so many different times in different ways. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, that's it for the show. If you guys want to listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, there might be other places you can download podcasts. YouTube, you can watch us, leave comments, let us know. We're still trying to think of something to do for the end of the shows. I think our best idea right now, this came from Jack Sock. Starting next week, if you guys submit a video of yourself, most like playing tennis, forehand, backhand, we will just roast you for like 1 minute. So if you are interested in that and getting made fun of on this podcast, you send a video in of you doing something tennis-y, and we might end the show starting next week on just making fun of you for a solid minute or so. So that is our best idea of how to end the show so far. We'll see you guys next week.